5 traits of magnetically hypnotic people. Maybe you want to become more hypnotic, maybe you want to sound more influential and persuasive, and you will definitely learn a few things in this video that will make you get there. The first trait of highly hypnotic people is that they have a much better understanding and curiosity about the human mind, about human nature, how human beings work from the inside. Many people are just stuck into their own head thinking about themselves. When you stop that for a second and start putting your attention on what's happening inside other people's heads, you will just find the right words to talk to them more easily. For example, there was a book called The Art of Deception by Kevin Mitnick, one of the early hackers of history. And he said, for example, if he had to convince somebody on the phone, because it was about social engineering, if he had to convince somebody on the phone who was from a military structure or from a police department or anything like that, he said those guys are so highly trained to respect higher authority from the moment they enter that space, that if you present yourself as a lieutenant or a captain, most people who are on the lower grade of the scale will not even question you what you ask for, because if you have the right voice tonality that is matching that character, they will not even question anything. On the opposite, if he was contacting a scientist, for example, to get some information, scientists who have a PhD, quite often they have an ego big like that because they had to defend their ideas for 7 years when they were back in college. So with those ones, you would much better prize them, show them how admirative you are of their work, and you want an interview of them because they're so important, and they will be more likely to give you information that way. So all of that intuition comes down to studying the people you interact with more often. What do they like? What do they lack? Can you bring them something they lack? If you find a way to do it, they will most likely give you what you want out of them. The second trait is to be comfortable with being the center of attention. Maybe not to the point of being a massive Tony Robbins stage artist, you may not need to go that far, but at least being comfortable, more specifically, I will break that down, with silence. Are you comfortable with staying silent, remaining silent in a room where no one really wants to talk? At some point, you may be comfortable enough with silence to let it happen, and you may also be comfortable enough to break the silence yourself, but not in a nervous way like you have to talk because otherwise people may not like you. In a way that, okay, all the eyes are pulled toward you because it is your turn to speak. Why not take that opportunity to share something important? And the more comfortable you become with being the center of attention and remaining silent even when people look at you and wait an answer from you, and calmly, remaining quiet and looking at them, and then advancing to say something that matters, at least that matters to you, you will catch much more attention if you're comfortable enough with silence and can break the silence at will, compared to if you're so uncomfortable with silence that you try to say something important right away, something interesting right away, because you want people to like you. You will just lower your image in the head of people around you if you're constantly nervous and trying to fill in the blanks. Being comfortable will definitely help putting you in a position of authority in the minds of the people listening to you, and from there, once you hold that position, then pretty much anything you say will have a better impact. On the opposite, somebody who is of the first case of always overreacting, even if that person has bright ideas and has great things to add to the conversation, many people will just not listen because there is not the foundation built up. Trait number 3 is to hold deeper eye contact. So it is going hand in hand with the second one. Are you comfortable with silence? One trick to be more comfortable with silence around you, within your life, is to develop a better eye contact. I know in the beginning it may be very uncomfortable to hold eye contact easily with somebody. If watching into the eyes is too difficult because you try to figure out what do people think of you and you're not really sure, you may just look between their eyebrows in the beginning. It is aimed at reducing the level of pressure there is with the eye contact. There is many theories in the spiritual world about what you are actually doing. You are communicating with your soul when you do that. Maybe it is, I don't have all the foundation about spiritual knowledge to know if it is really the case or not. At least I can say from a pure experience that it lowers the level of anxiety if you have any. When you look into their eyes right here, it will lower your anxiety and you will be more comfortable. And the more you hold that eye contact in a relaxed way, the more people will be relaxed around you. And when they are relaxed around you, then they resist less what you say, they argue less with you, and if they have anything uncomfortable happening in their life, it will be less apparent when you can put them in a quiet, calm state yourself. Threat number 4 is to understand social dynamics better, which is coming as a consequence of the first threat of understanding people. Understanding social dynamics is specifically whenever you are in a group of people, in a room of people, do you even understand who is the person in the room who holds the most importance? In some areas of life, it will be obvious. If you are in the classroom and the teacher is speaking, okay, no-brainer, the teacher is more important, no-brainer about this. But in some other contexts of life, it may not be that clear. And sometimes there is one person in the group you need to get the respect of first, before you can talk to somebody else, before you can talk about things that may be a bit outrageous in the conversation. If you hold first the respect of the person in the group or in the room who has the most impact on the group, then anything you say will go by, because you hold the respect of the right person. But if you can't read that, or if you can't read that sometimes the atmosphere in the room is very tense and people are like this, maybe it is just not the right time to try to make a joke. It may be really badly received. So reading the room is again about get out of your own head for 1 minute, pause that constant noise, reduce it, slow it down, push it away, make it silent for a minute, and notice what's happening around you. Who is speaking, who is not speaking? Why do those people speak louder? Why do those people are shy? What's happening? What kind of energy is emanating from him, from her, from this person? The more aware you are of all of that, the more easily you will play with social situations to your advantage, instead of being the victim of what's happening around you. Finally, threat number 5, which might come as a conclusion to all of those prior to this, it is to speak less. At least in the beginning of an interaction, to speak less, just enough so that you understand who do you have in front of you and how to play that person. Whether it is professional, whether it is personal, it may be in your private life, it may be in your professional life. As a coach, you may want to better discuss, better listen to the person to really figure out how you need to react and how you need to help that person specifically. Not every client will need your help in the same way. And if it is in your private life, again, you may avoid countless useless confrontations if you can seize, if you can notice who's in front of you. What are they trying to get? Are they trying to get admiration? Are they trying to validate their ego? If it is the point, you may just ignore them. If you enter the battle with somebody who's trying to validate their ego, it will just end up nowhere, because it is like the drunk guy in a party who wants to find a physical fight. Whether it is with you or not, he will find a physical fight anyway. Same thing, some people are just not worth talking to. The more aware and the less you speak in the beginning of an interaction, the more you question somebody. So when I say speak less, I don't say don't speak at all. I say do speak, but speak with short sentences in the beginning when you don't know somebody well enough. And as soon as you have a better understanding of who is the person in front of you, then do share your opinion, be authentic, explain what you want to say. And if the person is just a pain in the ass and toxic, just leave them alone and never see them again. It all comes down in the end to slowing down, reducing, getting quiet the voices and the noise in your head, so that you can be more present with the people you interact with, more inclined to notice all the sub-communication that is going through you and me somehow, and people you interact with. The more aware you are of all of that, the more persuasive and hypnotic and magnetic you will become. If you want to develop your skills with that, I have a free challenge down below. It is called 5 days to master covert hypnosis. You can check that and develop your skills by doing all the challenges one by one. You also have a document on slide of mouth if you want to develop your skills with words, how to influence others through the way you speak. And I tell you, see you soon in the next video.